The Zohar is a beautiful work of poetry. And on the one hand, it's an interpretation of the biblical text that believes that those who read the biblical text in a more literal sense, or even those who read it in a legalistic sense that derive orthopraxy, observance of law from, but don't read it in the mystical sense, are missing out on the true meaning of the text. So the Zohar is also a commentary on the Torah, on the Bible. So the first thing you would see is how the Zohar reconfigures pre-existing Jewish texts and sees them not in a historical way, not in even a legalistic way, but as a reading of stories about communing with the divine. Then, once you see that, you'd also see that the Zohar, there is a system in the Zohar. It's embedded and somewhat confused within the text. It's not easily taken, the system of living is not easily deduced from a shallow and superficial, partial reading of the Zohar, but it's something that you get with time or with a good teacher to extract parts of the Zohar that not only inspire you just by the very force of its poetic grandeur or the very inspirational readings of the Bible, but also start creating a framework, a theory of relating to the divine, seeing it within your soul, seeing it within the universe, seeing it within the text of the biblical canon, and then beginning to have an interplay between man and the divine, or woman and the divine. So the Zohar is in effect a teaching tool about having a relationship with God, not just in practice, in terms of observance, following a set of rules, but imbuing what we do with meaning, for the good, for the positive, in terms of making the Holy One, blessed be He, greater or diminishing Him, which may seem heretical to some people. How could you add or subtract to God? You can't. Yet the Zohar says that by our actions, when we do good things, we add in the Holy One, blessed be He, and when we do bad behavior, negative behavior, we take away. Now you could answer and say, well, there's an even higher, infinite place where there's no diminishing or adding to, but yet the Zohar does talk about a relationship with God that's not just reciprocal, but there's influence both ways, us on God and God on us. And that's a critical part of Zohar, is learning about that relationship and not just studying it, but putting it into practice as well.